Hello, welcome to I forgot I was writing that, sorry. Hello, welcome to Spinster actually. My name is Anna Marie and today I'm gonna do my everything I made ish in 2025. But yeah, I wanted to speak a little bit first because last year I made a video that was about all of the clothes that I got in 2024 because I wanted to take account of like what I was bringing into my wardrobe, like both in terms of me actually making things and also in terms of what I was buying. And I can't actually do that this year because I don't think, unless I have missed something, I'm pretty sure I haven't bought a single piece of clothing in 2025. I did buy a pair of shoes on the 23rd of December, but they got to me, they like arrived on the 31st of December, and then I only got to like get them on like the 7th or something. So they are going to count as 2026. And I have already bought some things in 2026, which is kind of interesting to sort of see, but it's partially because I need to like replace things that no longer are serving me for whatever reason. But I just wanted to sort of say that because the video I made about this like, you know, blew up for me, and so I thought kind of about it more than maybe I would have throughout the past year, especially because in 2024 I made sure to like write down everything that I was getting, and I really just didn't buy things in 2025 that were like fully formed clothes not made by me. So I feel like also the past year has been less productive for me. I have made some really lovely things, but I also feel like lots of these projects took longer than I wanted them to and didn't come out quite how I wanted them to, or like, yeah, it's a little bit more, it's just less kind of fruitful than I wanted it to be, I guess. But I have had periods of like productivity with this stuff. I think it's also partially that like it's been much more like in phases where I've like done something for a phase and then stopped for a long time, or like, you know, and I feel like at one point I was really into like knitting again, and then like I unraveled what I was working on, mostly almost all to the beginning, so then I lost all of my progress and my momentum with that too, and I haven't really picked it up to like keep knitting it very much. So yeah, it's been like a bit of a mixed bag. Let's talk about what I made. I think I'm gonna try and do this chronologically, but I'm not sure that I'll get the chronology correctly, but I think we'll try. I do have two things that I know of that I don't have to show you that I did make. I made like a bub bonnet for my friend Mari, which I think I did talk about in one of the podcast episodes I made in 2025. And I also made like a little mushroomy thing, like a fly agaric mushroom, but like a much smaller version, which I also gave away. I think like the major thing that I made in the first half of the year was this, which I did think about wearing for this podcast episode because I have loved it a lot, but I didn't. But this is my tolsta tee, which I just really love. I made picot edges around all of the hemlines, all of the, yeah, you know what I mean. It's made with, this is like knitting for olive silk, and then it's got like some cotton merino blends, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. It was like a scrappy project. I had like, I don't know, half of a ball of this silk left, and I was like, well, if I make the yoke like this, that'll be nice. And then yeah, I think I used onion knit sock for the other two colours, and then also I did have to buy some more pink for it, which I believe was some kind of Scandinavian knitting because I bought it in Scandinavia, but I can't remember the name. I do have some leftovers of that, which I'm sure I will use in another project. Yeah, really happy with how it came out, really happy with like how it fits. I want to make more tolsta tees for sure. Like I definitely feel like in my wardrobe, one of the main things that's missing is like nicer tops. And so if I can knit some, I think that would be really lovely. And so I have actually started another version of the tolsta tee in like a cotton linen blend, and I think it will be kind of see-through-y. So I think I also would like to make another one, perhaps all out of this silk, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, but lovely. Because I do really like how this one looks, but I would like one that is maybe a bit more cohesive. I also really like the idea of doing like a tolsta tee shape and then having like a lace pattern throughout, or just like a lacy top in that sense, but maybe all in green. But yeah, we'll see. I think before we like keep talking about new things I made, I wanted to mention this top. Which is not something I made in 2025. It's something I had made quite a long time ago, maybe in 2020. But it is something that this year, or like the past year now, I put elastic into the shoulder area so that when I wore it, like, it wouldn't be constantly falling down. I do feel like it's not quite perfect now still, but it's definitely a lot more wearable for me. Makes me feel much more comfortable and much more like it's just gonna stay on me. And I love it as a top. I do think it's really beautiful, and like that's really nice. And so I'm really glad that I made this like very small, very short, like it didn't take me long at all to make an adjustment that really works for making my clothes like better work for me and my wardrobe and body. So yeah, I also would love to make another version of this, but I know that I would make the cable section slightly longer because I feel like in the torso it's slightly short, but I still love how it looks and fits, but that's just the one thing about it that I would change. But yeah, anyway, I also did a bunch of sewing this year. So firstly, I am going to talk about this because I think this was the first thing that I finished. Or maybe I made a talus bag for my friend, which is not here, but then I made one for myself a few months later. So this is how my one came out. My talus is in here, but yeah. Something I did this year, which you will see reflected in some of my projects, is I bought some scraps from someone else, and so then I started using their scraps in my projects. I think aside from this, all of this is from that person's scraps, which I thought was a really nice way to like repurpose them. I also think they're really beautiful. Like some of them I love a lot. Like I really like this one. I mean, to be honest, I really like all of them, and especially how they work together, but I love this one. I wish there was more of it, but unfortunately there was not. And I also love this one, which I also wish there was more of, but there was not. But yeah, so that was a really lovely thing to do, and I'm really glad I did. And then, like I said, that you can see the impact of that on the things I continue to make. I really don't know what order to show things in. I think one of the things that I will do a brief interlude for, in terms of like things that are works in progress, is talk about this, because this is the jumper that I got very far with. In fact, I finished it completely and then I didn't like the fit, and so I went back almost to the beginning, and I'm gonna knit a size smaller than I was knitting, I think, and then just maybe have to do some increases because there's no bust shaping. I think I've also learnt that I don't particularly like yoke constructions. I just don't think that they work very well in terms of fit and like what I want from a garment. But yeah, just like a sort of a moment to behold this. And I worked so hard on figuring out what I wanted for the sleeves because I made them against the pattern instead of like with the pattern. And then yeah, I like re-knit one of the sleeves like 4 times to try and figure out like how to make it work and blah blah blah, and then like I undid all of that work. I also do feel sad because I was knitting it at like a really particular time and like in this really one particular moment, and I I unraveled the section of that I knit, because obviously I knit like I had at that point knit most of the jumper, and yeah, I feel sad about that, but that's okay. It's like it's in the yarn even if it's not in the finished object in the same way. The pattern is a Sicimbrium by the Crimson Stitchery, and yeah, like I definitely have talked about it before when I was knitting it like the first way. I ended up like frogging basically I think up to like about here, and then I have knit, that seems kind of crazy, I don't think I've knit that much more. Anyway, I basically frogged until the yoke, because for the size that I want to knit it's the same amount at the beginning and starting and stuff, so I didn't need to change the very beginning, so that was really good. Especially frankly for this row, because when I first did it I remember it took me forever because there's like a lot of, can you see it? There's like a lot of wrapping, and like there was so much like it was really hard to navigate on my needle because like it took up so much space on the needles, and yeah, anyway, it was quite difficult, but it was really interesting, and I think it looks really cool, but I'm glad I don't have to do it again. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I think this is partially why I lost some of my momentum for knitting. I did also lose some of my like cognitive capacity for knitting at points, and I don't know if I'm like able to do lace knitwear yet. I have mostly just been knitting like a rib length for this one project that I started, and that's sort of about it in terms of complexity. I just don't have the spoons at the moment, but I think it's like coming back to me, and like, yeah. So I'm not sure what I made next. I think it was this. Which is, well, actually maybe I should talk about my Tour de Fleece knitting. I mean, spinning. I guess I won't talk in detail because I made like a whole video about that, but I have made a bunch of progress with spinning my blouse. I have also lost momentum with this. It's also partially because I kept breaking off and then not being able to find the end, which I fear has happened here on this bobbin. Yeah, it's not looking good. But you know, I had been enjoying it and like getting into it, and then yeah, I've like kind of, my momentum has been arrested with this project, but I am really hoping to return to it in 2026 soon, because I'd love to make some proper progress and start kind of like planning out and maybe knitting with the blouse I've already spun. I do also have some like spindle projects, but I decided not to show them. I think I have talked about some of them in other places anyway, and none of them I've made like major progress on anyway. Like it's all still kind of where it was before. Back to patchwork. So this is something I definitely remember showing, which is again something I made from the scraps of the person that I bought. I picked out like a bunch of pinky ones mostly, and then the interior of this collar is my like that's from me and my scraps slash, it's like an old duvet cover that broke because it was so worn, like completely tore. So yeah, I think this is cute. Like I have some fit kind of difficulties with it. I have also been working on figuring out how exactly to wear it. I do really like it, and I have like one particular outfit that I know works with it, but then I kind of want more than that, so I have been working on that. I don't know if I will actually make a video with that. I have been like recording my outfits when I've been like trying to style it, so maybe you'll see that at some point. Yeah, but otherwise I think it is like really cute, and I really like how all of the scraps come together. I think it's really nice and cohesive, even if it's not cohesive. There's definitely some, again, like this is the really beautiful one that was on my Talus bag, and this was the only amount left. And yeah, I did some hand sewing for this, which I did really enjoy. Like it's not very neat, but I really enjoyed hand sewing. I think that's something that I've come to really enjoy in a way that I never thought I would. Yeah, that's been really nice. I don't want to just like hand sew all the time or anything, but I have been really, for the moments when it feels like good and reasonable and just like, I don't really want to say meditative, but just like nice, I have been enjoying doing that. So yeah. Another patchwork. I'm not sure if this was finished or if I showed it before, but I made this extremely giant scrappy bag, like extremely giant, like it's just gigantic. I guess this technically is the front because I made an egg pouch for the front pocket. This is now a combination of like both the scraps that I bought and also my own scraps. I guess you'll recognize some of my scraps, specifically the orange one. Yeah, also like for some reason I decided to use this like nice William Morris fabric I have, but it, you know, that's okay. I actually think I also bought like another section of scraps because I bought someone who was selling their like William Morris scraps too, but there were much fewer of them, and they tended to be quite small. Yes, it is also fully lined. It has a pocket inside here also. Did I just get my lipstick on it? Yes, I did. And I repurposed like the I don't know what these are called, but like the hook things on a pair of like jeans that I have had that I've like cut up, and I have had them cut up for a long time, and so I thought I would repurpose those to make the kind of bag strap. I guess this is kind of tied here because otherwise it's really long and like I don't have anything to kind of keep it there. But that does look better than if it's tied, but that's fine. It's not particularly it's maybe a little bit impractical because it's just so big. I think I've taken it out like once. I might give it to a friend because they were like complimenting it the other day, but I don't know if that's like fair because then they have to figure out how to use it. But I did carry, and also the other thing is like the strap is so thin, so it's like if you were to fill this bag up it wouldn't be very comfortable to have over your shoulder because there's a lot on this one small strap. The point is I took it out once and then I like fit my whole bag inside of it, and so I had it over here and then I had my bag literally inside of it, which was fine. But yeah, it was sort of like a project to see what I could do with scrap, kind of like designing and like putting things together, and yeah, it was a good, you know, project, even if like the result isn't particularly workable. But maybe there's a way I can figure that out, or I could like cut part of it or something, I'm not sure, we'll see. I think, yeah, we'll stay on the like scrappy train. Well, maybe actually I should talk about this. I didn't finish this. This is really not in order, so whatever I said at the beginning, disregard that. I made this. This is like a bunny hat. And what's special about it is that it's made out of my handspun. It's made out of the stuff that I spun during Tour de Fleece. And yeah, in that respect, it's really cool and exciting, and I'm quite happy with it. I can make yarn that can be knit. Like, it's competent, it's not perfect, and you know, whatever, but I can do it. And yeah, as for the project itself, I don't actually like it that much, or I felt kind of like the pattern was a bit silly, and just, yeah. And also, ultimately, I mean, I couldn't knit this larger, so like, that's, you know, this is how it had to be. But also, it's tiny. Like, it's just tiny. So it feels a little silly in that respect also. One of the things that is different is it did also take me a while to finish this project, because I don't really know why. I just like wasn't knitting, I guess, and then just wanted things to be really, really easy. But I knit one ear first, and then there was like months break between when I knit the other ear and then finished it. And so the first ear, I wanted this to be here, so it's like the inside of the ear. But the way I did that is I literally just like knit it in. Whereas when I did the second ear, which is, I mean, the two ears are also not shaped the same, but we'll disregard that. I duplicate stitched the pink on, which was much better, and I think it looks a lot better. Obviously doesn't like mess with the tension as much too. And yeah, I think just works much, much better. But before, when I had knit this, I hadn't been doing any duplicate stitch embroidery, whereas when I finally got to finish this, I had been doing a bunch of duplicate stitch embroidery. So that was why I like knew to figure out and to use that technique. You know, like I said, it's sort of like not really a success as an object, but definitely successful as a kind of proof of concept, I guess, or proof of my own capacity to spin usable yarn on my spinning wheel. Then I think I'll talk about this, which I do have like a whole video about actually, me making it. This is my patchwork Halloween skirt. Tough to get in frame, but like I said, there is a video, so you could look at that as well if you want to see more in depth. I'm really happy with this. The one thing I'm not happy about is the weight of the whole dress, skirt, I mean, on the waistband, which I do think I will need to take out and redo at some point, but that is not now. And I have been enjoying it. It's just like, yeah, it's so heavy that it does pull down on the waistband quite a lot. And I did feel like my elastic was kind of weird, so I don't feel like the strength of the elastic is particularly strong either, so yeah. It has pockets, Yeah, the other like sadness for it is that I washed it. I think I've washed it twice now, and like some of the like fabric has bled into other parts, which is sad. I mean, luckily it's sort of okay, and like I'm just accepting that that's okay. But yeah, a bit frustrating. I think it's because I really expected this fabric to have been washed before, but I actually think maybe it wasn't, because I took it from this skirt that I made a long time ago, and it's the like lining for the skirt. But I actually think maybe this skirt has never been washed, because it was a 1890s walking skirt, and like I had never worn it like out, because I just, how would you wear something? It was crazy, which is partially why I like cut off some of the length of it to make it usable. And so then I had the like, yeah, some of it to put as the skirt. Anyway, it was very badly explained, but you get it hopefully. Still, it's like definitely a success. I'm really, really happy with it. I really like these panels with the cobweb and the red. I like some of the patching that I did. Some of this is, yeah, like this bit is definitely more purple than it was before. Same with this actually. Wow, the skirt is very long. There were so many panels. Here we go. I have like a moon here, and I think I have a star somewhere. Oh, I have another moon here. Where's my star? Okay, well, I don't know where my star is, but oh, there it is. So yeah, it was partially because I ran out of some fabric and I didn't have enough, and then I had to patch things together to make it less obvious, I guess, in some way. But yeah, overall still really happy with it despite the dying parts. And yeah, I really love the like the sun and the moon from the orange fabric. And there's a moon here. No, there we go. So yeah, it did take me a really long time to sew, at least for me. I feel like often with my sewing I'm locked in and I make the garment and that's kind of it, whereas with like knitting it's like much more of a long-term thing generally, and it's like something I'm doing consistently for a while, whereas sewing, partially because of the space that it takes up, it's like I do it in a few days and then I'm done, whereas this I think took me like 2 weeks to put together, partially because it did take a while to figure out how I wanted to do it, and like deciding if I wanted to have a black band between each layer, which I did, and I decided it looked really good like that. I'm really happy with how it came out, but that obviously also meant that there was more work, and then also because I did have to patch things together, that obviously took longer, and also just like the sheer number of patches that I had to sew together, there was a lot of sewing. So yeah, it did just take a long time for me, for how I like expected it to be, I guess. Another sewing thing I then got quite into sewing was this pumpkin bag. So this is inspired by, and I used like the pattern from, oh no, I've forgotten her name. I will leave a link to the video and also to the person directly so that you can see. She made a pumpkin bag for Halloween, and I thought it was really lovely, and I love Halloween, as can be seen by my Halloween skirt. Yeah, so I decided I wanted to make one also. Hers is different than mine in some ways for sure, and also like the way I ended up doing the lid, very different from hers. I couldn't quite get the lid to work in terms of like the space and taking up the whole of the opening. Yeah, this is also something that took me a long time. There were lots of like elements. It doesn't seem that sort of together, but it does actually have like sort of, it's more than interlining, it's like a foam which came from I got a new mattress, and around the mattress there was this like foamy substance, and so I thought that that would be kind of perfect to put in my bag to make it stand up and keep its shape, which like, yeah, it does fairly well. I did make some choices about like not sewing parts of it together and sewing other parts of it together, and some of those decisions I think were silly. So like there's definitely things that I would kind of change if I could, but at the same time, like I did a lot of things that I don't really do. I've never made a bag like this, that's for sure. And yeah, I also learned how to make bias binding. That's what's like binding the top and also the sides. And so that was like an interesting learning experience. Yeah, it's also lined. Again, I was using up, you know, bits of fabric. So like this is the part of the skirt fabric that I cut off. So again, I'm trying to like use things well, I guess. And yeah, I did also buy some D-rings for the straps, but then in the end I like sewed down the straps instead of making them adjustable, which I feel like was maybe silly, and I don't really know why I did that, but there we go. And I think also at this point in the project I was just getting to being like, I want to be done with it, because this took me a really long time. There was just so many elements, and like, and it was also like much more kind of finicky and like more like engineering more so than my other projects, because it, you know, I wanted it to have this particular shape and I wanted it to like hopefully stand up as much as possible. And so then you're working with like 3 layers of things. And yeah, this is also patched on the inside. And yes, I do kind of have plans to both sew this lid a little bit more closed, because I think it actually would be more helpful, and also to sew the like first lid that I did make, which I have kept, on top of this because then it will have more of a pumpkin-y shape as opposed to just being flat on the top, and I think that will look cute. But yeah, I mean, ultimately still really happy with it. I got a lot of use out of it in November especially, and also in December. Yeah, happy with it. Have also managed to put one bunny rabbit inside of it, so that feels like a big success. We're gonna go for a bit of a diversion now, and I'm gonna talk to you about some of the necklaces that I made. I think I cracked wearing necklaces for myself. I always thought that because of my my sensory issues, I had to wear like really thin, light necklaces that didn't really feel like anything, except for maybe like the section of it that had the like bead on or whatever the word is. But in the end, like that never worked for me either. And also, like, I would say metal chains aren't particularly things I want on my neck because of my like skin issues. So then like I couldn't figure it out, and like I knew that like wearing more accessories was probably the sort of the fastest way for me to like up my fashion styling game, you know? So I thought about that, and then I also was watching a sort of like alt fashion DIY YouTuber called Rattus, who makes really like lovely DIY content, and they made a choker that was like somewhat these colours, so purple, black, grey, and I really liked that. And so I had in my mind that like if I made a choker like that, you know, maybe that could work for me. I did also rediscover like a little bracelet I had that somebody made for me a long time ago, you know, when I was a teenager, and I wore that and I felt like I could wear that. Like the beads had the level of like non-discomfort weight that was like fine. So I started to make things. So I started with this choker, which was kind of like a copy of the one that I'd seen. I'm a big purple fan, and I really like the combo of purple and black for sure. I do really like this one. I also used this amethyst that was on a necklace I had from when I was a teenager again, that had like broken a long time ago, and I had kept this part, and I felt like it kind of coincided quite well with it. So yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of wear out of 2 of the ones I made. This one, which I'm really happy with, it has a bat here and then it's pink and black, and I love that. I love it. This is perfect. I also do feel like, yeah, some of the kind of playfulness or like exploring of like goth aesthetics and like fashion is maybe coming out a bit more in these things, and that's partially why I also really like them. I did then make, I think this is the right order, I did then make this one, which definitely hasn't worked, and I think I'm gonna take apart. I got some charms just like randomly on eBay, and I do really like the charms, and I was sort of going for it, yeah, like a pink and green, but I think that this just doesn't work. I think whereas the others kind of like transcend the beaded nature of their necklacenesses, weird way to say that, but whatever. This one like really doesn't, and it kind of feels a bit childish to me, which is not really what I want to go for, even if maybe this is kind of childish jewelry, but like it's the only ones that like I feel like I can wear for my sensory comfort. So yeah, that one was a bit of a failure, but then I made this Halloween one, which I really like and have also worn quite a lot, with a nice little ghosty and then 2 pumpkins, and yeah, all the Halloweeny colours. And I will be wearing this not when it's Halloween. I have already worn it when it's not Halloween, so don't worry about that. I then also wanted just like a more plain but like rainbow one, and so I made this, which I think it looks really nice. And I will try to insert some footage of me like wearing these so you can see them more like on. But this one I haven't worn as much, but I have worn it a few times and I do think it's really nice. And I kind of feel like in the summertime, or like maybe when it's a bit warmer, it's gonna get some really nice wear. And finally I made this one, which hasn't got, I think this one I might redo, but we'll see. This one is just all purple and then some white, and it has 2 moons and a ghost as the charms, which I sort of feel like I should really like. But I think I wanted to have black in. I think I wanted to be purple and black, and I don't particularly like all of just the purple. And some of these purples I like less than other purples, I think. Yeah, I don't know. So there's this one, which I think I do need to experiment with wearing. The other thing is I made it slightly longer as a choker because I thought it would be nice to have some that are like more high up here and then some that maybe come more down here. But I don't know that I like that either. But yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I should play around with this one more. But yeah, so there was like a solid like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something where I was like really making these necklaces, churning them out. I did quite a lot of, before I made the first one, I did quite a lot of like testing out the order of things and like redoing it and like undoing it. And it's the same with this one as well. It took a little while to get the right like setup that I wanted. It did actually break when I was trying to film some footage of me wearing these various different ones. So I have repaired it for this, like, you know, redone it for this video, but also because I want to wear it because it's my favorite one. But yeah. So yeah, that was a really successful kind of side project of making things, and I've never done that before really, so that was fun. And I really hope I keep wearing them more in 2026. I'm sure I will. I really like them. Okay, final kind of bits to show. So I also have this. I just, in the kind of vein of like modifying things that aren't working for you. This is another thing that I knit like a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago now. It's the cloudbow dress, and I have shown it on my channel before and talked about it. I was like thinking about why I don't wear this, because I don't wear this, even though it, you know, I really like the colours, I think it looks really nice generally, but I just don't wear it. And I think part of the reason I don't wear it is because it was too long. It wasn't that, like, it's partially because it just like stretches a little as I wear it, and then also it was quite, yeah, it was just quite long. So I decided that, considering I'm not wearing it like at all at this point, if I do change something about it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because maybe I will continue not to wear it, you know, that's the like worst thing that can happen. So I decided to like frog back maybe like 4 inches or something of the skirt length, and yeah, so I did that. And I don't think I have worn it yet, like to try and properly figure it out. I mean, I wore it when I had finished casting off the hem again, which I have to say did take forever. Yeah, I will see if it gets somewhere in 2026. Hopefully it will. But I've hopefully like set myself up to wear it more now with that little alteration. So yeah. Then we have a project that is unfinished, but I wanted to show, which is like some sort of quilting. I'm gonna make like these placemats for my friend Mari. I've already given her one to show her like the concept, because they were supposed to be gifts, but then I ran out of time of like finishing them before I went to see her. But yeah, so this is unfinished, so there's like still like thread to cut and stuff, but like this is what one of them looks like right now. And obviously we'll have like bias binding, and yeah, I've never like quilted something really before, so this was like a fun challenge, and I think it's pretty cute. Mari really likes orange, which is partially why I have the orange sun. That's not a sun, moon. And also she really likes orange and yellow together. So I just wanted to show that because that's kind of fun, and like hopefully in 2026 I'll get more into quilting. Now the last project to show is a kind of collaborative project, and also I did finish it, like, well, I suppose I didn't because look at the ends. But like I mostly finished it in like as in, okay, let's try this again. I didn't finish this in 2025, but all of the knitting was done in 2025. Not all of the knitting was done by me. I definitely know I have talked about this when it had just all been knit and I had done the I-cord edge. Basically, my friend, I was knitting this a while ago now, and it was just really painful and bad, and my friend offered to knit it for me, and so they did, which was like lovely. And then they didn't want to do the I-cord edge, so then I took it back to do the I-cord edge and then also do some duplicate stitch embroidery on the back. And I think I had done love in 2025, and then I finished it to say love butchers, hate capitalism, and I finished that like a few weeks ago. So I do think I need to like condition this because it makes me really itchy to wear. I will be intrigued to see how I can make this work in terms of like styling it, because I do think it has potential. Let's see, can you get a good shot of the back? Okay, I can't tell if you can see it, but hopefully you can kind of see. So this was like a really long-term project, partially because, like, you know, I tried to knit it and then failed and frogged it, and then it was knit by someone else, and then I had a bit of knitting on it to do, and then I wanted to put something on the back. I also kind of want to maybe put some more things on it now that I've done that. And I kind of am getting into duplicate stitch embroidery, even if my stitching is not neat or particularly even, but I'm sort of happy with that, and I think because it's all kind of the same, it works. It's also partially, like, I was really inspired to knit this because it's the Can Do Cardigan by Lydia Morrow, and she has a white version that has a lot of duplicate stitch embroidery on it, and I just think it looks like super lovely. I really like it a lot, and so that was sort of also the inspiration. And I also just felt like a plain pink cardigan would be like, I don't know what to do with a plain, that's really intense, like, isn't it? I don't know. I don't have any cardigans in my wardrobe, so this is like a big styling thing that I will need to figure out. But yeah, like I said, I also need to figure out how to make it slightly less itchy, because it is a bit too itchy for me to wear without something underneath it. But even then, like the cuffs, they make me a little bit itchy. Still really happy with this. Also, what was really lovely is that this was like a collaborative project, you know, it's like my friend knit this and then I was like decorating it, and that was so nice. It was really lovely to be working on it and to be like, we're collaborating through this piece of clothing that hopefully I will wear. And yeah, that's really nice. Did I say that it's really nice? Okay, I think those are all of the things I had to show. I think I basically made 7 new things to me in 2025 that were like completed and finished, and or like mostly. And 2 of those were books. Books? That's not right. 2 of those were bags. And 2 of those were like accessories, like the collar and the like hat. Is that right? Yeah. And then there's 3 like garments. So I do kind of wish I had made more like actual garments, but that's okay. There's always next year, and I'm kind of hoping to get back into just like knitting as like a fairly steady practice, because I feel like I've lost some of my ability to just like rest, partially because I've been like really obsessively making things, which is like nice but also really tiring. Ultimately, it's not particularly restful behavior, and that's definitely how I feel about sewing. Like, it's a very like intensive thing to do for me, whereas like knitting, it's like you can just sit on the sofa and like very chill knit. And I think I've like lost some of my sort of capacity to do that a bit, slash, yeah, partially because I've not been having a good time, and so then I've been throwing myself into these projects, but then it's like kind of making me more and more exhausted. But anyway, yeah, I hope that you've had good years of creating things. I hope that you've had good years of creating anti-fascism, and I guess my wishes for everyone is that like we use the like autonomy and agency we feel through making these things to like for ourselves to make a world better together, and I think we should try doing that. Thank you for watching, and like I said, definitely let me know how your year has been in terms of making things, and if you have like a standout garment that you made. Oh, I guess I didn't count these in the like count of like things that I've made, but they are accessories technically, so I guess I made I guess I made a few more. I also have been, I didn't say this, but like I've been buying like secondhand beads on Vinted. Like I've been looking for people who are selling beads secondhand as a way to kind of make it more like zero wastey than maybe other practices around getting beads, because there seems to be like a lot of these beads around, you know, and then it seems silly to not try and find some that like people aren't interested in using anymore to use for myself. So yeah, I feel like probably the standouts of like things that I made were this one, which is my favorite, and then also my patchwork skirt, which is also my favorite, also my tolsta tee. Yeah, I think obviously it is also a standout that I have this like garment from like yarn that I made, so I guess that is a standout even if I don't feel that great about the actual garment that I made. Okay, I think I'm now repeating myself, but yeah, also you could let me know what your like favorite thing you made in 2025 was. That would be nice. Cool, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, whenever that is, and yeah, I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye.